Shalom bracha. Yeshua Marchik, how are you?
How's the Hashem?
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Simon, how you feeling?
I'm living the dream.
There you go. There you go.
Simon, sell it, baby. Sell it to us, Simon.
The last one that told me that is the toll taker on the Atlantic Beach Bridge.
That's where I got it from. That's
his line.
How you doing? How you doing, man? Living the dream, sir.
Is that the guy that I see in Seasons Express all the time?
It's
Yeshua who walks by your house?
Does he have a gun in his head?
Not sure about that. He's the thin, like blondish looking guy, right?
Yeah. He walks by your house every day.
Yeah. That guy.
Yes.
Sure. The guy in the orange shirt.
Yes, he walks by your house every day. Goes to
knew.
Seasons Express, gets a coffee, and walks to work every day.
If he knew how far that line has gone, that like literally nationally, people now know. Goyim in South Bend say, when I say, "Hey, how's it going?" Living the dream, sir.
If he knew, he'd really be living the dream.
Right.
If he knew, yeah.
If he knew, he'd cash out.
The Atlantic Beach toll, they're all interesting. I once went, the last time I went to the church, at dinner or something in Sands, I pulled up to pay the toll, and they tell me, I'm switching sides in a half an hour. If you bring me dessert, it's free.
Very good. Very good. By the way, you know that probably worked at some other Jew who figured he'd get out of paying the $2.50 on the fridge.
That's great. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so on the bottom of, we're almost making a siyum tonight. We'll leave over the last two lines so we can make a siyum tomorrow. 8 o'clock, right? Tomorrow, Bez Hashem.
If anybody wants, there's Mincha Meirav here at 7:20. If anybody wants.
All right. Good. Yeah, shkoyach. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Good evening. I was learning the Rashi, but we had a problem last night. Murray were going. I mean, if you tell me to be quiet, I'll be quiet. I don't understand any of these.
I'm not going to say it. Others might, but I'm not.
I don't understand any.
I was going to say he's never listened to us, anyways.
I'm going to stay muted.
The chazav is shaykh. It's talking about the chazav is shaykh of all the shalmei chagiga, right?
Right.
Every mishpach was chayv to bring a shalmei chagiga.
Yeah.
Okay, so they brought it Erev Yontif or Yontif?
Either Erev Yom Tov or after Yom Tov. Depending, yeah.
How many people we talking about?
I don't know, a whole lot.
I mean, before Aaron went on his diet, how many chazar b'shoiks could he eat already? They had hundreds of thousands of them for 10, 15, 20 for every coin. What they do with them? What is this?
Right. I hear.
The Chumash sounds good on paper. It doesn't in real life. I don't understand how it works.
I hear. I understand. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. Unless they weren't, the animals were very young and the chaz and sheiks didn't give that much meat, maybe.
No.
I don't know. Right, they were only a year. Well, no, that was the Korban Pesach, right? That's only a year.
Yeah.
I hear. I don't know.
Okay, fine. Thank
All right,
you.
so let's see. V'chiluk lechem hapanim, right? That's on the bottom line of Nun Hayim base. So what the Mishna says, so lechem hapanim was every week, right? The 12 loaves of bread. What do we call it? The show bread, right? So the show bread was every week. And whichever Mishmar, we're going to see actually in the next Mishnah how they split it up from one Mishmar to the other Mishmar. But we said that when Shavuos or when Yom Tov falls out on Shabbos, then all the kohanim get to split the lechem hapanim, not just the mishmar of that particular week. Right. So how do we know this? That's what Gemara is saying. How do we know that all the mishmaras, meaning all the kohanim, get to split the lechem hapanim when Yom Tov falls out on Shabbos? So on to the next Talmud. It's a Talmud Loimar. Chelek yechelu. There's a each one gets a chelek, which this is right after the previous pasuk, which talks about eating it. So kechelek avoda kachelek achila. The same way that there's a chelek for avoda, so there's a chelek for achila, meaning the same way they split up for avoda, So they split up all the kohanim's portions. Meaning on Yom Tif, we said that there's no mishmaros. Yom Tif, we split up all 24 mishmaros, right? All 24 groups of kohanim get to start from scratch. So too, they get to eat also. So umay achila. Now what kind of achila are we talking about here? Ilay but Korbanos. If you say we're talking about Korbanos, mehasam nafka. Right? That you learn from a different pasuk from over there. L'kayin ha'makrav oisa loisiya. The kayin who's makravit, it's going to be to him, right? And since all the kohanim are the ones that are makrav the Korbanos on Yom Tov, so they get to eat it. So it can't be talking about the regular Korbanos. So what must be left over for the pasuk? Lechem hapanim. It's talking about the showbread, the lechem hapanim, that they get to split it. Fine. So the Gemara says yachal af b'chayves habayis shaloi machmas haregel b'regel. So you would think that the kohanim also get to bring Korbanos that are not coming because of the Yom Tov. Tamilayim that are being brought on the Yom Tov. So Tamilayim are levad mimkarov al ha'avos, except from the sale. The literal translation is the sale of the fathers, which means what? Ma machar ha'avos zelazeh ani b'shabati va'ata b'shabatcha. Right? Now, what did they sell to each other? So they said, I'm going to do this Shabbos, and you're going to do that Shabbos. Right? So that deal that they made with each other goes on all other Korbanos besides for the special Yom Tov Korbanos. Yeah? So that's what we're saying. Meaning, so Korbanos, regular Korbanos for Yom gets split by all the kohanim. Lechem hapanim gets split by all the kohanim. But the chayves habayis, that the chayves that come not because of the regel, that people just happen to have brought because it's around Yom Tov time, that then that the kohanim do in the regular mishmaros. Yeah, fine. Okay, so let's see weiter. So now we have chazor of sugi and brachas. Batzeres aimer lo helach. So on Shavuos, we tell them, here, take the lechem hapanim and take the shtei lechem. Yeah, so itmar. Rabba Mar Sukka v'achakav zman. Right, is Nageya in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. It's not less than 2 weeks. No, 2.5 weeks. Right? Yeah, everybody's getting their alerts now. Yeah. So Sukkah v'achakav zman. It's first you make the bracha lechem bsukka, and then you make shechayanu. Rabba Rachana Amar zman v'achakav Sukkah. First you make shechayanu, then you make Sukkah. Meaning at the end of kiddush. At the end of kiddush on Sukkot, you make borei hagafen, then you make the kiddush, then do you say shechayanu and then lechem bsukka, or lechem bsukka and then shechayanu? Yeah. So Rav says it's sukkah and afterwards it's man, and Rabbi Rachana says it's the shechayanu and then sukkah. Right? Rav Amar Sukkah v'achakav man. How come you say sukkah first? The yubad diyayma if the keishev of the day is more important. So what's the keishev of the day? Sukka. Sukka is the keishev of the day. So you say lechem bsukka first. Rabbi Rachana Amar zman v'achakav sukkah. You do shechayanu first and then sukkah tader v'sheinei tader kohanim. So we do what's more common. We say shechayanu much more common than we make a bracha on the sukkah. So therefore shechayanu should go first. Yeah, so that's their Machlokes.
How many shechayanus do we make during the year? Where did this come from? How many shechayanus we make?
Well, you have the shechayanus of the Yomim Tovim.
Yeah.
So
okay, so that's 3.
All right, but a sukkah you only make 1.
No, most people go in and out of the sukkah 3-4 times a day.
First of all, you certainly make a lechem every time you go in the sukkah for all 7 days, no?
What?
That's what I'm asking. Exactly.
You're at least making it once a day.
Are you talking about because you mean no? Yeah, but that's only because we leave. But if you'd stay in the sukkah, Rabbar l'shitascha, right?
No, I understand. That's what I understand that. But how many shechayanus do we make a year?
Even so, but really meikar adin, it's 1 lechem. No,
that's what the Gemara is saying.
I don't know if the Gemara is saying it like that, but that theoretically it could be one lechem and that's it. Right? Theoretically, if you played it right, right? In the Ma'aseh, we played it right. It would be only one lechem. But even
True.
so, like how are you gonna count the shechayanu? So what? You have Rosh Hashanah. I don't know. Do we count Yom Tov Sheni? I don't know.
I don't know, but you have Hanukkah.
You got Hanukkah. You got Purim.
I mean,
You
I'm just
got-
saying it's not a lot of
You're right. It's not,
shechayanus. That's all. It's not a lot.
Certainly, if you like to eat and you leave the sukkah and you keep coming back, you have way more lechem. 100% right. You're 100% right. But I think the stomach goes busted what the chiyuv is, and there's only a chiyuv to make one lechem, as opposed to there's more chiyuv to say shechayanu. Okay, so we'll see later how we pass it. Let's say they're having a machlokes, the same machlokes Besham v'Hillel have the Tana Rabbanon. There are many differences between Besham v'Hillel by Suda. You make the bracha of kiddush by Friday night or Yom Tov night or anytime you make kiddush. You make the bracha on the yom, and then you make yayin. No, you make first borei hagafen, and then you make the kiddush, which is obviously the way we pass, and that's why every kiddush starts off with borei hagafen. Friday night, when we say Yom HaShishi, that's not part of kiddush. There we're just saying psukim to testify that Hashem created the world and Hashem made Shabbos. Yep. So how come
David,
they hold? What are you saying?
David, you heard this already, but somebody doesn't have any yayin, and the doctor asked him from eating bread. So he wouldn't make kiddush. He would make kiddush, just make the Seder whatever kiddush without the motzi or yayin. No,
I don't know.
The day is chayiv in kiddush.
Because but they only were masakin kiddush ala yayin or ala pas.
Okay, so what does a person do if he doesn't have yayin or pas?
I don't think he can make.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
He's mekadosh and tefillah. I would say he has to be mekadosh.
They would
and
be
tefillah.
yaitzer with them kidney.
Yeah.
Then he would be.
You got to make sure
that,
unless the doctor asks him to daven, then he has the problem. Then he has the problem, right? So why do you make the bracha on the day first and then wine? Why are you drinking wine? Because it's the day. This also doesn't apply bisman as everybody drinks wine every night. Okay, but what's causing you to drink wine? The day. That's why you're making kiddush. And that's one reason. And the second reason is ukvar kiddush hayom, but yayin leba. The day comes in first before kiddush. Meaning, let's say you say the day comes in a half hour after shkia. So first the kedusha comes in, and then you have the yayin. So those are the two reasons why Beis Shammai says you make the kiddush on the day first, and then the yayin comes after. So first you make a bracha on the yayin, and then you make a bracha on the day. Like you just said, the yayin is causing you to be able to make kiddush, right? If you don't have yayin, you can't make kiddush or pas, right? Davar acher, or another pshat, birchas yayin tadira. The bracha of yayin is much more common. Birchas yayin ain't a tadira, and the bracha of kiddush is not as common. Tada b'shena tada koidem, right? Because it's more. That's more tada, right? Now it's not only because people drink wine more often, right? It's really because with all the kiddushim throughout the year, right? Plus birchas hamazon, plus sheva brachas, right? Plus all these things, right? The bracha al yain with the mitzvah is more often, more common, and it goes without saying that if you say that all the time that people voluntarily have yain, then for sure, right? But whatever it is, so that's the Machlokes Besham v'Hillel. So what does the Gemara want with this? So Leimer Rav Domer Beis Shammai. Let's say Rav goes with Beis Shammai, right? That first you make the bsukka and then you make the shechayanu, right? So he goes with Beis Shammai, right? Because first you do the day, and then afterwards you do whatever the brachas that accompany it. But Rav Barachana Domer Beis Hillel, and Rav Barachana says like Beis Hillel, right? Because the shechayanu comes first, because he's saying that it's more common, and shechayanu is more common. So Amar Lach Rav, so that's what we're thinking, that Machlokes is Talui Zebezeh. So Amar Lach Rav, Ano Damri Afilu Beis Hillel. I say even like Beis Hillel, Ad Kan Lo Kamri Beis Hillel Hasam Ela She'ayin Gorim LeKiddush Shetayomar. Right? Beis Hillel didn't say his din only because of the yayin that the wine is what caused the kiddush, meaning without the wine you can't make kiddush. Halacha, he loves man. Let's say you didn't have zman, right? You would still make a bracha on the sukkah, right? Meaning that obviously there's going to be zman, but theoretically,
kiddush on challah?
if you have no wine, you can make kiddush on challah by night.
What are we saying about not making kiddush on wine here? Then maybe I misunderstood you.
No, I'm just saying. Whenever we say wine, it's you can replace wine with challah too. If somebody can't drink wine, he makes the bracha on challah.
All right, fine, sorry.
Right, good, no problem. So then he says like this. So he's saying maybe it's different because the shechayanu and the sukka are two totally independent things. Meaning, by kiddush, if you don't have wine, you can't make kiddush. What I mean by saying, and wine and if you don't have bread, but you don't have either one of those, you cannot make kiddush. Mashenkin, if for whatever reason you don't have a shechayanu to make, you're still going to make the bracha on the sukka, right? Right, which is meaning the other days of sukkahs, you make the bracha of sukkah, you don't make shechayanu, right? So then one is on the other. He says, I could even say like Beis Shammai. Beis Shammai said that the day is what caused the wine to come. But here, if it wouldn't be for sukkah, wouldn't we say zman? Meaning, let's say somebody doesn't have a sukkah for whatever reason, or it's pouring rain. Right? It's pouring rain, and you're making sukkah, you're making kiddush inside the house. So you're saying shechayanu, right? You're saying shechayanu, it has nothing to do with the sukkah. So the two things are two totally independent. So therefore, we can't say that it has the same thing.
Why?
I thought we say. I remember learning to get together with you that the kiddush from the first night is on the sukkah also.
Correct.
So how does that work?
What do you mean? How does it work?
How does it work?
What's that? So we'll get to the psak in a minute. Then we'll address what you're saying. Yeah. What are you saying, Gershon?
In a normal case where the Gemara sees Machlokes Amayraim, the same as a Machlokes Tanoim, I understand why each Amayra has to answer the other Tana. Over here, why does Rabbi Bar Chana have to answer up to Beis Shammai? You can argue on Beis Shammai because up to hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Ask us like Beis Hillel.
So I understand what you're saying.
Why the second part of this? So Rav has to answer. Rav has to be able to paskin like Beis Hillel. Why does Rabbi Bar Chana have to be able to hold like Beis Shammai?
He's not. I don't think he has to. We're just saying that it's a lav dafka.
The bad time I couldn't care less. Let it be dafka according to Rabbi Bar Chana. It doesn't matter anymore. Once you've answered Rav, that's not the Machlokes anyway. Okay. So there's no point to this. What is the point of saying Rabbi Bar Chana says could also hold like Beis Shammai?
I hear what you're saying. I thought it was just to make it equal. I learned it very balapat. I'm not a lamdan like you. I learned it very balapatish. We're saying
but usually there's a point.
One says, what?
Usually you have to. The Gemara has to say it.
Right. You're right. I hear it. It's a good point.
Yeah, there's mamash no point.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Fine. So now, what does this Gemara have to do with our Gemara? So this is why, because the Gemara asks, Tanan, Batzeres on Shavuos, what do they do? So they tell the kohanim, hey lech matzah, take the matzah, which is the lechem hapanim, which is weekly, which is more common, right? And hey lech chometz, and here's your chometz, which is the shtei lechem, which is only on Shavuos, right? So why do they tell them take the matzah and take the chometz? The chometz ikar u matzah tafel. Here, the chometz is the ikar, right? Because that's the lechem, that's the shtei lechem, and the matzah is the tafel. The matzah is every week, and also it was already on there from last week. You're just taking off the matzah. The lechem hapanim, the shtei lechem for Shavuos is the main korban of the day, right? That definitely has more chashivas than the lechem hapanim. Lechem hapanim was put up last Shabbos. All they're doing is taking it off to put on the new one. There's less chashuv. So how come they're telling him take the lechem hapanim and then take the shtei lechem? It should be the opposite. take the matzah and take the chametz, right? So why? Because it's the more common one. So you go with the more common one first. So therefore, it's a tiyufta de Rav. It's a kasha on Rav, who says that you say the lechem bsukka before shechayanu. Meaning, from our Mishna, it's clear that we go with the tadir as opposed to what's more chashuv. So even though sukka may be more chashuv on sukkahs, but you should go with the shechayanu first because it's the more common. So that's the kasha. So we slug up Rav. Samalach Rav Tanoi. Rav will answer no. It's a Machlokes Tanoi. The Tanya Heilach Matzah Heilach Chametz. Right? One brisa says that we tell the kohanim, here's your matzah, here's your chametz. So we found a brisa that disagrees with our Mishnah, meaning there's a machlokes. So if that's the case, Rav can go like one of these tanoim, and that's it. Right? So therefore, we don't slug up Rav.
Does this line of Gemara belong in the other Gemara we had about how to speak? We're Who says this? Halach matzah, halach chametz. Are we asking a kasha on the Mishnah? I mean, because this machlokes sounds like the Gizbar decides to tell the kohen, here, take your matzah, take your chametz. What's the big deal? Why halachically he should have to say it the other way around?
Yeah.
Or because that's what they gave first?
I think they're bringing a proof from the way it went down.
Because of the lashon, or because if it says halach matzah, halach chametz, he gave him the matzah first, and then he gave out the chametz.
I don't know. We're basing it on the testimony, the way they did it back then. So if that's the way they did it, so that must be the.
But it's because of the way they did it, or because of what he said. This halach chametz, halach matzah is a quote of what the guy said when he gave it out.
Right.
He said
That's
it that
what
way.
we're talking about, or because he gave it that way.
He said it that way because that's how he had to give it.
That's okay.
I don't know. It's about okay, but either way, I learned it that was based on what actually they did. Anyway, so let's divide. So the Darash Rav Nachman ben Archis, the like Dibri Rav Damar Sukka v'achar kavzman elas man v'achar kav sukka. He said we paskin that you do shechayanu and then sukka. But Rav Sheshes brother Rav Idi Amar Sukka v'achar kavzman. Right, so each one says the way we paskin. Each one has their own way. The Hilchasa Sukka v'achar kavzman. We do lechem bsukka and then shechayanu. Right, which is exactly what we do now. If you look in Shulchan Aruch, and it's an interesting thing. But if you follow along in the kiddush, so on the first night, Shulchan Aruch says you should do the sukka and then the zman. This is what Aaron Kaplan was referring to. First night sukkah is because the first night sukkah, you want the shechayanu to be going on the kiddush and on the sukka. Second night, where the shechayanu was only going on the yom tiv, it's not going on the sukka. So therefore, you should swap it and you say shechayanu first and then the lechem, right? So it's an interesting thing, but although there are those that hold that you can do it, you can't go make a macha though. If you're by somebody's house, kiddush, the son-in-law or the shver, and he does it the other way, you can't make a macha because the ma'aseh there are those that hold that you could do it this way both nights. But if you're doing it legit like Shulchan Aruch, so first night is lechem and then shechayanu. Second night is shechayanu and then the lechem.
Don't make a macha before the food is on the table.
That's advice from somebody who's probably made many machos.
But Baron, it depends what they're serving.
That might have been the best line of
None of your business
the
what they're
entirety of
serving. You
doing
don't know what they're serving.
Daf Yomi together.
There you go. Yeah, very good.
Aren't you
Okay.
happy you came back, Baruch Hashem, Simon?
To hear that, absolutely. It was kedai. It was kedai to be born for that line.
Now I feel like I'm a toll taker.
I don't know. It wasn't that good a line. Maybe I misunderstood it. If it's that was better, it's okay to be born just for that.
All right, let's see weiter. Okay, so Mishmar Shazmane Kavu of Shar Korbanos Tiva. So we said that the Mishmar, whose regular time and they get to do all the other Korbanos. Lasuye mai, what are the shar Korbanos tzibur? What are they? Lasuye par helam davar shel tzibur. That's coming to include the par helam davar, meaning if the whole Klal Yisrael, right, one of the more interesting Korbanos, if the whole Klal Yisrael does something wrong, so they have to bring a par helam davar, meaning they did it wrong because Sanhedrin paskined wrong. And if the Gans Klal Yisrael, the whole Klal Yisrael did avodah zara, so if those Korbanos happened on a Yom Tif, so during Chol Hamoed they're going to bring these Korbanos, and therefore that goes to the set of the whatever group of kohanim happens to be on the watch at that time, right? That does not get split with the rest of the kohanim. Okay, next for who makriv esakol, and he's makriv everything. Lasuye mai, what's that coming to include? Lasuye kayetz hamizbeach. That's the kayetz hamizbeach that we discussed, I think in Shkolim, that if the Mizbeach was ever sitting empty, they had special carbon oilers that the kohanim had to bring. So that was also done by whichever kohen was on duty. That did not get split. Now, what do you get? A carbon oiler goes totally up on the Mizbeach, right? So the skins, it's only negeya to the skins. The kohanim get to keep the skins. They don't have to split it. Oh, fine. So the Mishna. Yom Tov v'samach l'Shabbos. Right, so Yom Tov that comes out close to Shabbos, either on a Friday or on a Sunday. Now, the way it worked with the Mishmar is that the Mishmar changed on Shabbos, right? Which we'll see at the end of the Mishnah. But the what, right? Every week was a different set of kohanim, and they swapped Shabbos afternoon, right? So what happens when Yom Tov fell out on a Sunday or Yom Tov fell out on a Friday? So now there's two sets of kohanim that had to stay there. They couldn't leave the Beis HaMikdash, right? Because it was Shabbos or Yom Tov. So they couldn't leave. So Yom Tov v'samach l'Shabbos, whether it's on before, whether it's on Friday, or whether it's on afterwards on Sunday. All the mishmaros that were around split up the lechem hapanim equally, right? Meaning the guys that were coming in, the kohanim coming in, the kohanim going out, all split it equally. But let's say there was a Sunday in between. Right, meaning it was Shabbos, then Sunday, then Yom Tov, right? So now, really, the kohanim could have come on Sunday, right? Because they had time to come on Sunday. But if they chose, because they don't want to, they're going to be nervous whether they're going to get there for Yom Tov, so they came on a Friday and they spent Shabbos in the Beis HaMikdash, even though it wasn't their turn, right? Right, so it wasn't their turn. So if there's one day in between, so the mishmar shazmana kavua hayanoitel eser chalas. Whichever mishmar was on duty then got 10 of the chalas. Hamasakev noitel shtayim, and the one that was prevented from going home or that came early, whichever, right? Meaning if Yom Tov was on Thursday, so then they stayed over till Shabbos because they didn't want to travel on Friday, or with the Yom Tov was on Monday and they came Friday because they didn't want to missed the day on Erev Yom Tov. So Mamela, they got 2 loaves, right? So again, they had to share, the kohanim that were on duty had to share whenever there was one day, a weekday in between Shabbos and Yom Tov, they had to share 2 loaves of bread. And it's time in a regular year, the Mishmar leaving, right, because they changed the guard on Shabbos. So the one coming in would take 6 loaves, and the one going out would take 6 loaves. Now the reason why you're saying, so what's the big deal to split 2 loaves? So that we already had this Gemara that I think it was a Gemara that Kazayas fills you up, right? It was a Gemara. Was it Shkolim, Yuma, Psachim, Yuma? Is it Yuma? Okay, so so in Yuma it said if anybody had a Kazayas of the lechem hapanim, that satisfied you. Or even less than a kazayas, we said. Did we say less than kazayas? I don't remember. Whatever it is. So, meaning it could make a difference. They could be satisfied the whole Shabbos with their 1 kazayas. Fine. So that's the first sheet. The Rabbi Yehuda, he disagrees. Yehuda says, "Anichnas noitel sheva, va'yoytze noitel chamesh." The one coming in took 7, and the one going out took 5. Which we'll see in the Gemara why that was.
Where's the gun?
Hanichnasan chalkin b'tzafin. The ones coming in, meaning the new watch that was coming in that Shabbos to go on duty on Shabbos, would split up the lechem hapanim on the north side of the Beis HaMikdash. Vayotzin Badarim, and the ones going out were in the south side because that was on their way out. Right, meaning because everything was done on the north side of the chutzner. So that shows that they were the incoming group. The outgoing group did it on the south. Bilga, right, was the name of a kohen. What?
Why isn't Kol Hapanim Yamin Nagaya there?
What does that have to do
When
with
they
it?
come out of the kiddush, they should go to the darim. Why are they going to the tzafin? Everyone should go to the darim.
Why?
They're coming out of the ulam. They're going to hit the Mizbeach. Where are they going to go to divide it out? They should turn right. That's the darim.
It's only if they're turning.
They have to.
Oh, wait, here, take this too.
What?
Where are they going to? They're going to all divide it out between the Mizbeach and the ulam. No, they have to find a place in the Azara where they have space to divide it out.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't they all turn right? They should all go to the darim.
I don't know. I thought it's just because they're not turning right anyways, but yeah. Anyways, I don't know. Okay, so Bilga was the name of a mishmar. It was the 15th mishmar, right? They always had to take it in the south. It's like a knas, which we'll see. Meaning, even when they were the ones coming in, Bilga had to do it in the south. Right? V'tabata kavua, and then they had the rings. Their rings were kavua, were set. Meaning, they had, if you remember from Yuma, every mishmar had a place where they shechted their animals, and they put they had these rings in the floor. So they put the animal's neck inside the ring. So Bilga's was locked, and they could never use it. And the Chaloinas too, and they also had 24 like windows, lockers in the Beis Hamikdash for each mishmar to keep their knives, and Bilga's was also locked. So Bilga was really that's what's the word that not annihilated. There's a word like that.
Blacklisted.
Blacklisted, right? Blacklisted, or it's another word for that. They were, I don't know, censored. Yeah, I use a political term.
Segregated?
Yeah. Outcast, whatever, all these things.
Excommunicated.
They weren't really, it's interesting because they let them still be the mishmar. That's an interesting thing you're saying, Mike. Right? They were still, why don't you just throw them out? I'm sure there's Rabban, right? There's a little shortage of kehanim. I mean, even according to you, who said there weren't enough kehanim to go around, but they must have had enough to just bounce them, right? Especially we'll see in the Gemara there was a brother, right? So I don't know. It's an interesting thing. So okay, we'll see when we get to Amud Beis. So Gemara says, what do you mean that Yom Tov falls out before or after Shabbos? If we're talking about the first day Yom Tov, right? So that means that the first day Yom Tov was on a Friday. Lacharei Yom Tov Acharon. Lacharei means the last day of Yom Tov was on Sunday. Hainu Shabbos Shabbos Chag. That's what we've been talking about for the last blot. That means that Shabbos was on Yom Tov. So, and then we know that everybody gets to split it. So it can't be that. El Lefanei Yom Tov Acharon must be that Yom Tov Acharon fell out on a Friday. So therefore, Shabbos was not Yom Tov at all. And Lacharei is Yom Tov Rishon. And after it means Yom Tov Rishon, where the Yom Tov Rishon fell out on a Sunday, and Yom Tov was after the Shabbos. So, right, meaning the Shabbos can't be part of Yom Tov, because if the Shabbos is part of Yom Tov, we already know that all the Kehanim split it. So my timer, what's the reason? Right? How come they get to share all 24? Right? All 24 Mishmaros get to share when Yom Tov is right up against Shabbos. Since the Kahanim have to go early and they have to come late, or they have to stay late and they have to come early because Shabbos is right before Yom Tov, so they're there earlier. Taking Rabbanan Milsa, the Rabbanan were masakin it, so that they should all eat together. Meaning, since there's going to be a lot of extra kehanim, because again, they're changing shifts on Shabbos, but they're stuck there for extra time. So because it's Yom Tiv, some Mela, that I guess for Achdus reasons, they said everybody can be part of the lechem hapanim. Fine. So Chal Yom Echad. So it says if the first day fell out, right, separated. So now we're on Amud Beis. So
All right, so
again,
you can pour a scotch, parrots.
no, you can't. It's got to wait for tomorrow.
Aaron, I already poured.
Yeah. So fine. So Vahani so again, when Yom Tov falls out on a Monday or on a Thursday, and there's one day in between, so Rabbi Yehuda said that the incoming one I'm sorry, no, I mixed it up. Every Shabbos, the Tanakama said they split the lechem, but there's 12 loaves of bread for the lechem hapanim, 6 and 6. Rabbi Yehuda says no, they split it 7 and 5. Right? The incoming gets 7 and the outgoing gets 5. So me and my chachma said, oh, so they're getting 2 extra, right? Which obviously don't have much chachma. They're not getting 2 extra. They're getting 1 extra, right? They're supposed to get 6. So they're getting 7. I keep thinking, why we got to do? Why they got to get 2 more? No, they're not getting 2 more. Maybe I shouldn't warp everybody with my dumbness, right? But it's not, right? I mean, they're supposed. The Tanakama says it's 6 and 6, right? All Rabbi Yehuda says is the one coming in gets 1 more. So if he gets 1 more, it's got to come out of the pocket of the one leaving. So that's why there's a discrepancy of 2, 7 and 5. Okay, whatever it is. So Gemara says, "V'ani tarti ma'aviditayu." What are these 2? What's a pshat, right? Why do they get 2 more than the other one, which is really only 1 more? So Amar Rav Yitzchak b'schar hagofas lasas, because of the schar for closing the doors to the Beis Hamikdash. They're closing the doors to the Beis Hamikdash. They didn't open them; they have to close them, right? So they're closing them on behalf of the previous mishmar who now left. Again, they switch shifts on Shabbos. So who opened the doors? The shift that left. So the shift coming in really is closing the doors on behalf of the people that opened the doors, right? You come at home and you say, who opened the door? Go close the door, right? So that's what it's saying. So because they're closing the door, they're closing the door on behalf of the first guy. So Mamela, that's what they do. Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the first guy. It's covered for the base of English, not to leave the doors open. It's nothing to do with who opened it.
Yeah, right.
The Migdash, the cover for the Migdash demands that the doors are closed. That has nothing to do with the first cover.
What? So you're saying what? So they shouldn't lose out.
This losing out, I don't understand that. But they're doing for the cover of the Migdash, not for
but the one who opened it should have closed it.
But they can't did it because they left.
Right, so they should have to stick around to close the doors. They should have to stick around to close the doors. Listen, I hear what you're saying.
I agree with that. So, but obviously the Mishna doesn't hold that they have to wait around. They have to go make the daf. They have a Daf Yomi right after for dollars. They have to run home to get the Gemaras.
Right. Yeah. So, okay, but whatever. Yeah. I think the Gemara's kasha, the next kasha is sort of what you're asking, meaning it's a stronger kasha. Right? Meaning, so what's the lumdus? V'neimale dal b'dal. Right? Every guy is losing, right? So 1 second. I'm getting 5 because the incoming guy gets 7. Whatever, right? So why don't we just say, I'll be Michael mine now and just do 6 and 6 and finished. You know that for later on, which is sort of what you're asking. Like, what are we talking about? Semantics here? Like you open the door, I open the door. What's the difference? Just give 6 and 6 and everybody knows that they're going to lose out for one and gain on the other. All right, I hope the Olam understands the kasha. Again, Rabbi Yehuda is saying that the reason why
next week they're going to switch it, so.
Right. Exactly. Well, you mean because next week that's really the teretz. Maybe they'll switch it, and then you'll be stuck losing 1 loaf of bread, right? Well, I don't know if that's let's just explain the kash again. The one coming, Rabbi Yehuda says the one coming in is closing the doors on behalf of the one that left. So since he's doing that, he gets schar. He gets 1 loaf of bread. Maybe it's coming to Taka teach the lesson of hakaras hatoiv. Somebody does you a favor. You gotta show. You gotta reciprocate or whatever it is. But either way, so he's saying you give him an extra one. So Gemara is saying, why do you have to give him an extra one? The incoming one, fine. So they get an extra loaf of bread. Next Shabbos, when it's their turn to leave, they're losing a loaf of bread to the next mishmar, right? So why don't we just not do this whole complicated thing and just say, hey, you won't get an extra loaf now, but you get an extra loaf next week, and just always keep it as 6 and 6.
What's so
Right?
complicated to do 7-5 as opposed to 6 and 6? Why is that
No,
so
but it's
complicated?
just saying, but why, meaning, why you're saying you're getting Yischar this week instead of getting Yischar next week? Why can't you just wait for Yischar till next week? I mean, you said 6 and 6 and finished. You're right, David, you're right. So 7 and 5, what's the difference? Meaning it's ultimately it's the same, everybody's getting the same amount of loaves. Right, but why does he have to go be chaylik on the Tanakama who said 6 and 6 is the more simple thing to do? Each one gets 6, the one coming in and the one going out, right? So
This is a riot for me,
Yaakov.
Yaakov. This is a riot for me. You must have machlokes. You must have machlokes. That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Listen, you know what? If they told us we got to study the Torah a whole day and a whole night, you got to have a lot of machlokes. I agree with you 100%. Otherwise, what are you doing all day, right? Okay, fair enough. It's fair enough. Yeah. So anyway, so the name of
Yaakov.
yeah.
As an aside, this Rashi, Dal Bedal, connects the first Amud of Sukkah to the last Amud of Sukkah. With Dal. Dal Ashlish Karnaim, yeah.
Right, that's very good, Taka.
That's from
Yeah.
Beis Amud Aleph and Vav Beis.
That's a good horror. You see what Gershon is saying? Because he's saying what Rashi in explaining the word dal, he's saying dal means remove, right? Dal badal, remove it. Just don't remove your 7 and you'll get 6. He's saying it means dal when the Gemara says on Beis Amud Aleph that you should remove the walls and see if this schach is giving you shade. Yeah, very good. So
Could be because that's a part of what Sukkot is about, Ba'etzim. That's why we go to a hut. The tilted behemoth is about our dallas connected the Rebbeinu Shleilam Zashirus.
Oh, now you're already getting the machshava. Okay, so Omer Abaya, baitzina tava mikra. A baitzina type of vegetable is better than a large vegetable. Smaller vegetable is better than a large vegetable. To say it in the American way, Simon, from Living the Dream, is the American way of saying it is a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush, right? That's another way of saying it. Meaning, I'd rather get my extra loaf now and save it and not have to be relying on the other one later. Yeah, because you never know what's going to happen next week, right? Maybe the mishmar is not going to be there, etc. So I'm taking my schar now, and not for later.
It's like the lottery, no, the one lump sum or the slow payout.
Correct. So this is right. The Gemara is clearly saying take the lump sum and run. Right. So that's very, very, very good. Good mashal. Which is another.
Or like Rabban will say, like that Met player that's still getting paid out.
Well, maybe he's smarter. Right. But it's interesting. Another thing, Gersh, I actually thought about this when I thought about you, because it says a mashal hedjit. Twice on this daf, Rashi is going to say mashal hedjit. It's a I don't even know how to type a mashal hedjit. But it means it's like an example. It's a mashal. It's a parable, as they call it, right? Mashal hedjit, because the Gemara is going to have it again on the bottom, right? What's the chances on one of it? They say mashal hedjit. Okay. Either way, a small vegetable now is better than a bigger one later. Right, financial security. Yeah, so Amar Rav Yehuda, Musaf and Chalkin. Now another thing, Rav Yehuda says not only do they split the lechem hapanim, they also split the musafs, the carbon musafs. Yeah, so the Meisvi, the Gemara asks on that mishmara hayotzes, the mishmara that's going out. Now, why did it change to lashon nekeva here? Right, it changed to in the last Mishna, it changed to a lashon nekeva. Right? I don't know why. Okay. There's got to be something very obvious that I'm missing. But anyway, Mishmara hayotzes, Oisa Tamid Shel Shachar, they do the carbon to Tamid Shel Shachar, right? The regular daily carbon in the morning, Musafin, and the carbon Musas, Mishmara Nichneses, and the one coming in, because they switch in Shabbos afternoon, Oisa Tamid Shel Ben Arbayim. They do the Tamid Shel Ben Arbayim, Ubazichin, and that's the frankincense. Right, whatever that is, that they put on top of the lechem hapanim, right, on the shulchan. Ilu musaf and chalkan like katani, and in this brayso it doesn't say that they split the carbon musafs. They just say the first guy brings the carbon musaf. It doesn't say they split it. So it must be not like Rabbi Yehuda who says that both the incoming and the outgoing split the Korban Musaf. So Gemara answers, no, that's not a kasha. This Tana is not talking about splitting who gets to eat the Korbanos. This Tana is talking about who does the Korbanos. But it's not discussing who splits it. So Gemara asks another kasha that's going to say that it's discussing even the splitting. Amar Rava, Batana de Shmuel, the Ma'ariv Chalukah. We have that Shmuel said that it was talking about Chalukah, Musaf and Chalkin like a Tani, and he doesn't say anything about splitting the Korban Musaf. The Tana de Shmuel, Mishmara Yaitz Aisa Tamet Shel Shachar Umusafin. The Mishmara that goes out does the Tamet Shel Shachar and the Musaf. Mishmara Hanechneses Aisa Tamet Shel Ben Abayim Ubazichin. Does the Tamet Shel Ben Abayim and the Bazichin, right? And Arba Kehanim Hayu Nechnasim Sham. There were 4 Kehanim that went in there. Shnayim Mishmar Zu, Shnayim Mishmar Zu. 2 from this Mishmar and 2 from this Mishmar. The Chalkin lechem hapanim, and they split the lechem hapanim. Vilu Musaf and Chalkin like a Tani. It doesn't say they split the Korban Musaf. So here clearly you see they are talking about who gets to bring the Korbanos and who does the Korban Musaf, who splits it, who gets it. So to Yufta the Rabbi Yehuda, to Yufta Seru, we slug up Rabbi Yehuda, and we slug him up, and therefore it's not talking about that splitting. Rabbi Yehuda, who says that they get the incoming and the outgoing mishmara split the Korbanos of Musaf, is shlugged up. Fine. Hanechnasim Chalkin b'tzafin, the ones coming in split in the north. Tanarabana. Hanechnasim Chalkin b'tzafin k'dei sheyiru shein nechnasim. That that they should see that people are coming in. Yaitsin Chalkin b'daram k'dei sheyiru shein yaitsin. And the ones that are leaving split in the south, so everybody should see who the ones that are leaving. I'm not exactly sure why everybody has to see this, right? It's because of Machlokes, I guess. If people shouldn't get confused. Hey, Mr. Kayan or Rabbi Kayan, can you do this for me? Not do this for me? I don't know. That's otherwise. I'm not so sure why anybody had to know. Fine. Okay, right. Now one of the more fascinating Gemaras in Sukkah. So Bilga was censored, and they pretty much put them in Cherim. So why did they do this? The Tan Rabbanan. Maisa b'Miriam bas Bilga. There was a story with Miriam bas Bilga, right? And Shehimira Dasa, that unfortunately she became a mummer. She became irreligious. And she went and she married a Greek, one of the officers of the Greek army. When the Yevanim came into the Heichal, and Rashi says it's talking about by the times of Chanukah by Matisyo. He doesn't say Chanukah, but it's Matisyo. So she would kick with her sandal on the Mizbeach, and she said, Lucas, Lucas means a wolf. In Greek, it's a wolf, Rashi says. Right? Until when are you going to take all of Klal Yisrael's money? You're not even when they need you. You're not even omer aleim because they bring Korbanos, and you don't even help them out.
I guess it's like today you say you dog, like would be like very derogatory.
Yeah, something like that. So the Marsha actually says, Doctor, it's interesting you say that Marsha says that the wolves eat sheep, right? And the Beis Hamikdash, the Mizbeach is the sheep is a carbon tamid, right? So that's what's constantly on the Mizbeach is sheep. So she's calling it a wolf because you eat the sheep and you don't do anything about it. When the Chachamim heard this, right, which Rashi says after the Chashmonayim won, right, because they had no power when she did. This couldn't have been done immediately. That's what Rashi's saying, because they didn't win, didn't get back to Beis Hamikdash. But once they got it back, Kava was Tabata. They closed up her ring, right? Again, Lashon Nekeva. The Sasma was Chalaina, and they closed the window. Yeah, the Yeshayim. That's one way. That's one story. The Yeshayim Mishmarta Shayalave. The Mishmar of Bilga was always late. Shayalave means they took their time showing up. The Nichnas Yeshev of Achiv Imai, the Shimish Tachtav, and Yeshev of his brother came and did it instead of him. Right? So when Rashi says Yesheva was really the Mishmar before, he was number 14. Bilga was number 15. Right? So his brother covered for him. So even though normally the neighbor of a Russia, which we'll see soon, doesn't get schar. Shcheinei Bilga nistakru, but they gained. They by being the neighbor, meaning being the mishmar right next to Bilga, they gained. Shebilga la'olam chalekas b'darim, because Bilga always took it in the south. So then memeli yesheva achiv v'tzav, and they got to do it in the north, right? And that's, I guess, a more chashuv a place. The north is obviously a much more chashuv a place, so they gained from it. Okay, so now what's going on here? So Bishlam, the Gemara asks, Bishlam that the Mishmar was late in coming, Hainu de Kansina Lakula Mishmar. So that's why they made a knas against the whole Mishmar. Said, you guys are always late. We're locking up your stuff, and you're not going to get the same treatment as the rest of the kehanim. But the one that says that the reason why they were censored and put into chayram or whatever they did this for was because of the daughter of Bilga, Shemira Dasatev. She became a religious because the daughter goes off the derech. So therefore you give a knas to the parent. So Rabaya in Kedamri Inchi, Shusa de Yanuka bsukka Aidavua Aidaime. When you hear a child talking in the street, they're imitating either the father or the mother. Right? When children don't just talk, everybody has this matzah where the kids say something embarrassing about what goes on in their house, right? So that's what the daughter would not have been rebellious unless she heard these type of things being spoken in the house. So therefore, the father was knast. So then, okay, so the next question is, in Mishum Avud Beime Kansina Lakula Mishmara, because of the father and the mother, you give a knas to the whole Mishmar.
You're not making a siyum tomorrow night?
I am. I'm just gonna do. I'm gonna leave the last right, but we can't leave it. It's an obvious kasha. We can't leave the island saying so good. So now one of them had a rebellious daughter because the parents obviously talked up curses. That's what the Gemara saying. So why does the whole? What do you call it? Get it? So why does the whole mishmar get it? You're gonna give a knas to the whole mishmar. The reason is because. Yes, if you hang out with the wrong people, then you're going to end up getting punished, right? And then we'll leave the last 4 words for tomorrow, so we can make a siyum before tomorrow's daf. All right.
To those who are making a siyum tonight, lechem mazel tov.
All right. Good Nacht.
L'chaim.
Yaakov, this ties into the vart that he said over Monk, B'Shem Rabbi Sandler, about the Consider Meir.
Other what?
That Enenu Shemea B'Kol Aviv B'Kol Imai, that he never heard his pshat. He wasn't, not that he wasn't listening. He never heard his parents davening or learning.
You talking about that part that you said last week?
Yeah,
you never heard them.
You never heard. Same thing here. You're hearing bad. This is what's going to happen. You don't hear anything, it'll also happen.
Right.
Don't we also?
Very
don't
good.
we also have like a whole thing about like there is such a thing as like the seed and all that stuff? Like because one woman decided to like kick her sandal off on the Mizbeach. Obviously, there's something wrong with this person. I mean, just out respect. And then all of a sudden, an entire city is like denigrated because of it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It seems a bit extreme.
It is, because you think there's got to be more to it, right? One rebellious girl and this whole mishmar for the rest of the Beis Hamikdash. Right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right.
And what happened prior to this woman doing it? Were this was the only manifestation of Bilga and the terrible neighborhood that Bilga is? And they didn't have any chance to do any type of tshuva after? I just don't understand like what this whole thing's about. I know it's all theoretical and all hashkafa, but like I don't I don't really understand how
It's for the Shloshim Yom Kaidem L'Chag. It's almost exactly 30 days before we lay Lach Lecha, where everyone davened for the Sodom. Sodom was going to be destroyed for a few bad people, and Avram had to daven. Maybe there's a good person to save it. But that's the Oile Rosh Oile Shcheinai.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's like it's one.
But you're talking Sodom and Amorah, yeah, like the epitome of evil, right? Like the epitome, like even Goyim talk about how Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Like it has nothing. You're right, but that's one thing. This is nowhere near. Her parents did something. They might have been not in the best neighborhood, but the reality is that she went off the derech. And you look at kids today going off the derech, Chalila, and tattoos and drugs and shiksas and shaygitzes and all that stuff. And all of New York is now put in cherem? All of Lakewood's put in cherem for one person that goes off the derech? I just don't understand why it's so extreme.
I think it could be a difference between a mummer and what we call off the derech today.
Okay, like that's semantics. Again, that's
no. I'm saying that for a reason. Off the derech is a mix of either whatever abuse or never been turned on to Yiddishkeit, whatever it is. A mummer from a kohen, one of the mishmaris.
Come on, you don't think that type of stuff happened back in the day either? There were non-from people back in times of Beis Hamikdash.
No, hold on. It's not the
You
same.
mean they think Simon? Are you saying they had teens at risk back then too without internet? Is that what you're saying? Are you saying they had teens at risk without internet? Is that
no?
Of course they did.
Shlomo Melech had the The reality is like, it just none of the
Simon, there were big issues, even though they weren't having lay shetels also.
That's
Did they check for bugs? Did they check for bugs?
Simon, I'm saying you're right.
Yeah, they didn't have those big bug lights either.
Simon, I'm saying you're right. You're absolutely right.
It's
a riot. It's a riot that a mummer is much more than just off the derech. A mummer is someone who's lahachis against Hashem. Someone who's off the derech is nebuch, but there's what to help. There's something to do, maybe. A mummer is someone who's lahachis went anti. That's not what we call off the
I can tell you right now, a guy I know, literally right now, came here from and lost his mind. And he's not mentally ill, lost his mind, tattooed up within the last 6 to 8 months, lost his mind, tattooed up, got a divorce, left his family, shacked up with a shiksa. And the guy comes from Yichus, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing is wrong, and he knows what he's doing is everything he does is lahachis. I mean, again, who knows what happened?
So maybe he's a mummer. I don't know.
But yeah. So South Bend now is in cherem because this guy.
No, but maybe his family is.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what happened here. The family, the family of Bilga, not Yeshua wasn't punished. It was his brother.
Bilga was a city.
What?
No, it wasn't Bilga.
No, it was a person. Bilga was a person. He was a kohen.
Oh.
When they made the mishmaris, he was one of the first. He was the head honcho of the mishmar called Bilga.
So, but you had the daughter, then Bilga, and then it was a street, and then it was the family, then the street, and then the neighbors, and all of a sudden.
Wait, what are you saying? No, only the family was punished.
It just said the last. Hold on, not to open it up again.
I'm so sorry.
Why it's funny you say it because last night by slichas, today's slichas or last night's slichas, right? Yeah. There's a lashon in there like of I don't have a slichas with me. There's a lashon in there that says.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, Peretz, I think you actually got there for it, Peretz. I think you got there. Peretz, I have to say.
I had a big shiloh last night.
Peretz, yeah, go ahead, Peretz. Say your shiloh.
I didn't daven Meyer yet, but I was doing slichas for the morning.
Yeah, I just.
Yeah, what were you saying? What was the lashon? No?
I'm a
I don't know.
Yeah,
In the
I'm a
prison. No, not in. Yeah.
The Lishchino is neighbors, but it's like a neighborhood. It literally went from the girl to the family to the neighbors to the city to the neighborhood. What are we doing here? This sounds like this is the what we're dealing with today, where like kids can't get into school because like the brother's off the derech. So next thing you know, like okay, now the family's a total bunch of nothings. Now they can't. The good kids can't get into school because one kid, Khalila, what are we talking about here? This is the beginning of all of this stuff.
The Khalila is the other way around. It's a nebuch on us. For somehow, Bilga's great granddaughter became a mummer. She was a mamash Rasha Marusha. She went not just off the derech, but she went lahakas against.
Yeah.
Today, and therefore, Kazal said, there's a halacha we passed and Bezdin have to do. You make a chayrim on them all, the whole family. It wasn't more than the family, by the way. The term shechayanu doesn't mean the neighborhood. It means the close people. Gemara is asking because her and her parents do something wrong. Mamela, the whole family should be punished. The grandsons and the grandfathers, they should also be punished. And the Gemara says, but it's all the family. Today it's disgusting what happens today. You're right.
Well, I'm going to say something. Aaron Horowitz is not on now, but I'm going to say something. But really, it's for him. But
should we stop the recording?
No. I'm saying something. We learned in Yuma. We had a lot of shvera gemaras that we didn't understand what was going on with these kohanim, beating each other, right? Even here they threw stones at the tzeduki. Meaning there were tzedukim around. I mean, I don't know what was going on in that second. I have no idea what was going on, right? But it's I don't know. I don't think we can possibly.
It sounds a lot like our media today, the from media today. They found one issue and all of a sudden it blows up. But the reality is, it's like a nothing issue.
New York and New Jersey.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll tell you. What was I just thinking? I totally forgot what I wanted to say, which I guess maybe that clearly I shouldn't be saying it.
Maybe it's better that way.
What about Tzedaikim being around?
No. What was
What did you want to Rabban Horowitz? You had to throw him in.
No, that's what I'm saying. That we don't know what was going. Oh, that's what I was going to say. So because I posted last night and I ruffled a lot of feathers, right? I ruffled a lot of feathers. With me and Peretz spent the whole time on the way home from Lakewood last night texting back people, whatever, about all their questions about because I said it's why you're going to hire a guy. Right? I texted this out. You're going to hire a guy to watch your kids. You can go daven and shul on Rosh Hashanah. Does that make any sense? Does Hashem really want that? Foreign concept for many people, right? So I would mention this to a rabbi from Lakewood the other night, and he says, "What do you mean? In Europe, everybody had shiksas. Everybody." He said over some Rebbitzin. He said over from some Rebbitzin that she never changed a diaper in her life. Everything was goyim. So first of all, it doesn't mean that the goyim were home alone. It's a big difference between alone and. Then I said, 1 second. Why does everybody talk about Europe as if it's the be-all, end-all of Judaism? I mean, they had a Holocaust, for goodness sake. They didn't have that Holocaust because they were I'm just saying that. Why do we look at Europe as if that's mamash the be-all, end-all?
Also, he has one raya from one Rebbitzin.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it happens to be where Berkowitz says it all the time that every house had a shiksa, but you never had a Jewish girl working in a not Jewish house.
They didn't have food. You hear stories of Shach didn't have shoes, but okay.
By the way, I just want to introduce you. This is a Kasriel Gortzman. I know him from Camp Mamina. So he joined a few times in the camp, and his link wasn't working, but now he's on. So
welcome.
He's almost from out of town because he's almost from out of town. He's almost further than everybody else, even more than Icky, Ottawa.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
except I sold out and moved to Muncie.
Yeah, but now he's in
and
Muncie. Now he's in Muncie,
Yeah.
but he could have been pretty far. What's that? Ottawa's further than Phoenix from
Wait,
you?
Ottawa's no, it's closer.
No.
It's closer.
Yeah,
It's not.
Ottawa,
No,
Ottawa
it's
also
a
just shut
6.5
down,
hour
yeah?
drive.
Like the whole place
That's
is.
it?
The whole place
I thought it
was.
was further.
Yeah, you're
Ottawa's
thinking of
closer than me.
Edmonton, probably. Yeah. Ottawa's not
I
geographically
thought you had to
that
go
far.
around the Great Lake. 1 second. You don't have to go. Why am I?
You're thinking of maybe
No.
Edmonton.
No, I'm not thinking about the West.
I have to go around the Great Lake because I
That
live
big
in
on
one.
Amoritz, I'm not. I'm not that big on Amoritz.
Me too, Gashi.
That's right. We have to go around the Great Lake. You
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, Lake Michigan. Yeah. Wait, but again,
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know. So who says, like, the base of obviously there must have been issues. I think I agree with Simon. There must have been more issues with this Mishmar than just this lady.
I think that's what the Gemara is saying. I think that's.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Al
the Gemara
Gufa.
is saying that beferish. The Gemara is saying Oila Rasha Oila Shechayanu.
But what does that mean?
It means like you get punished for the
what you're
sins of your. 1 second. How many machlokes have been in Klal Yisrael? I gotta make a machal, otherwise I'm getting punished, right? And then all hell breaks loose because right.
We spoke about the kohanim, right? We spoke about the kohanim, mamish killing people, stabbing people, throwing things, whatever. But the one girl that goes off the derech, that's the biggest issue. That's an issue that's good. They're pushing each other off the ramp up to the Mizbeach. Good. But the one girl that goes off the derech, it doesn't make any sense what we're talking about here.
That I think I'm learning Oila Rasha Oila Shechayna differently than you.
Could
You're
be.
learning Oila Rasha Oila Shechayna that Bas Bilga was the Rasha. Oila Shechayna, the Shachan gets punished.
That's where I
That's how
learned
you're
it.
learning it?
Yes.
I'm learning it completely differently. Oila Rasha Oila Shechayna means the Shachan of a Rasha becomes a Rasha. The Bilga was a mummer because there were Rishayim in the family.
I can't say I learned it like that. I hear what you're saying.
Definitely makes
Did you
the whole Gemara work more geschmack, no?
It
What, if you
doesn't.
do it that way?
Rishus doesn't happen in a vacuum. That's what it means.
I mean, it
Maybe
also
I'm totally
mentions the whole
wrong.
coming
I don't know,
late
this whole
thing.
thing's very fair. I mean,
Could be I'm totally wrong in the pshat.
Hashkafically does not make any sense.
I hear.
I mean, maybe Matzav change, like whatever. But I don't know. This whole thing just people acted terribly in the times of the base of Mikdash for years. I mean, it was literally so bad that the base of Mikdash was destroyed. But one lady, it goes off the derech, her entire family is a bunch of mumar. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, I hear you. I don't know. It's a Shvera Gemara. What should I tell you? It's a Shvera Gemara.
I think you might be right in the way you learn Oila Rasha Oila Shechayna. I just read Rashi again. I think I might have misread it. That's why I learned that way. It looks like Rashi's learning like you. Comes from the Evan, the Tzeras, Evan Amanuga. So you remove the one next to it, even though there's no sign of Tzeras.
I hear.
I'm not sure. It could be both ways. Even
I don't know.
there.
I have to look at it again. But
yeah.
Yeah. All right. I got to go down Myra now. I blew through 2 Myras. Now I'm going to have to walk in the pouring rain to Myra. All right. Sean, it was worth it. It was worth it.
Yeah, shechayanu for another Masechta.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem. We should continue to do many more. Yeah.
Amen.
All right. Jesse. Did my neighbor report that they had a break-in? My neighbor report they had a break-in 2 nights ago?
I did not hear anything about it, but knowing our neighborhood, chances are they didn't.
I don't know. They told my wife they had a break-in. I'll try and find out if they
Tell them they should call.
I don't know why they wouldn't call.
Please do.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
A lot of people think
Simon,
it's a hassle to fill out a police report.
Yeah. Whatever. It's crazy.
It's really more like 2 or 3 minutes.
Right. Yeah. All right. Fine.
Shechayanu, I get to know. Ritz Hashem.
Looking
forward to Beya tomorrow.
Oh yeah, Bay is something else. Let me tell you. Bay is something else. Yeah. All right.